sa mga huling taon ng martial law sa atin noong dekada 80. Nandito ako sa Amerika, nag-aaral ng kolehiyo. Dito ako namulat sa maraming bagay at dito ko rin makikilala ang isang Pilipinong nag-iwan ng marka sa kasaysayan ng bansa. Sa kolehiyo sa Boston, ang unang tikim ko sa kalayaan. Campus journalist ako. Malayang bumapatikos sa kahit ano at kahit sino. Ibang-iba sa nararanasan ng lahat ng nasa Pilipinas sa ilalim pa ng rehimeng Marcos. Halos 35 taon na mula na nagtapos kami sa high school sa Pilipinas. At dito kami ngayon sa New Jersey muling nagkita-kita.
Should do this more often. Pinoy! Natin, 4B. 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 4B.
Sa reunion namin may galing Chicago, Colorado at California. Lahat kami martial law babies, ika nga. Lumaki ng puno ng Marcos propaganda ang mga utak namin. Naalala nyo ba nung dineklara yung martial law?
Yeah.
Impact sa pamilya nyo?
First things that happened, like curfew, and those, having to stay at home, and it was pretty tense the first week, especially, not knowing what it meant, just hearing that there's soldiers on the streets.
Sometime right after martial law was declared, maraming mga Filipinos wanted to give Marcos, the chance to, to improve the peace, improve the economy. Parang, sikat na si Lee Kuan Yew noon eh.
Isa sa mga naging kaklase ko noon, pamangkin ng dating leader ng oposisyon na si Ninoy Aquino.
Anong impact sa pamilya mo noon, Jerry? Siyempre, teenager ka pa noon. Pero ano yung naalala mo? Ano napansin mo sa
Well, yung first impact, yung mga birthdays ni Ninoy, of course, nasa Bungani siya, detained siya. So kung magbibisita ang family, strip down search siya, nakahubad kami, sinistrip kami, just to visit him.
More the Philippines, Pilipinas.
Ngayon, isa ng dalubhasa sa wine si Jerry. Sana kasama ko rin sila sa Boston noong dekada 80. Naalala ko kasi medyo malungkot dahil iilan lang ang mga kababayang andito noon. Mga homesick na Pinoy kami. Kaya naman nang mabalitaan ko may sikat na Pinoy na magsasalita di kalayuan sa aming campus, sinigurado kong makakarating ako. Alala ko, sobrang ginaw noon. Kaya yung ibang nandito sa loob para makinig, mga homeless, dahil nandito sila para sa heating. Nung araw na yon, mga 20 tao lang ang nasa auditorium na to ng Boston University. Ito yung tinago kong program mula nung araw na yon dito sa Morse Auditorium, kung saan ko una nakita si Ninoy Aquino, March 1, 1981. Ang topic niya, The Philippines Post-Martial Law. Ang araw na ito ay tumatak sa aking isipan. Yan ang Ninoy na nakilala ko at ng karamihan dito sa Boston. Isang celebrity political exile. Ngunit meron ding isang Ninoy na kilala lang dito ng iilan.
I wrote the president permission if he would allow me to go to Dallas for my operation. But I promised him I'll be back immediately after my operation to my quarters in Bonifacio.
Sa Dallas, Texas, nagpa-heart bypass si Ninoy Aquino noong 1980. Hindi natupad ang pangako niyang umuwi agad sa Pilipinas pagkatapos ng operasyon. At dito sila sa Boston, Massachusetts tumira ng kanyang pamilya. Isa ito sa mga sinaunang syudad sa Amerika. Isa rin itong sentro ng edukasyon sa buong mundo. Pasyalan din ng marami ang John F. Kennedy Presidential Library, kung saan matatagpuan ang records ng pinaslang na Pangulo ng Amerika. Isa raw ito sa mga paboritong pasyalan ng pamilya Aquino.
Sa dami ng mga dumadalaw, that was part of the trip. Dad would tour everybody. So siguro mahina yung 30 times kung napanood yung 30-minute clip na yon in Gandhi because he'd bring all of us, on JFK, and he'd bring all of us.
Malapit lang kasi rito ang dati nilang tirahan. Mga Amerikano na ang may-ari nito ngayon, magkapatid na matatandang dalaga.
Hello.
Hi, thank you. I'm Howie Severino from the Philippines.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
I am
to meet
Malloy. This is the Boston Marathon passes here, and that's the 26th mile. And so he probably looked out here. It's really quite a nice view. After they left, there was a student dormitory here.
I see.
And I think they were abusing the house a little, so the foundation decided to sell it. Anyway, but I think he sat somewhere around here.
Wow, what a nice place for a study.
Ito raw ang sanktuaryo ni Ninoy, kung saan siya nagbasa, nag-isip, at maaring nagdesisyon na umuwi.
I know how important it is to the Filipinos, and so I feel an obligation to extend ourselves a little bit.
Bago namatay si Ninoy, dito siya tumira, 30 taon na ang nakalipas. Ang tahanang ito ang saksi sa pinakamasayang bahagi raw ng buhay ng pamilya.
Kasi nung kakalipat namin doon, talagang una, nakakatakot ang tandaan itong bahay na to. Tsaka ang heater, yung old style na radiator. Sanay kami na naka-jacket sa loob ng bahay kasi ang mahal-mahal ng gas eh. Kailangan magtipid. True yon talaga na alam ko what it's like magtipid sa kuryente. Kasi ang mahal ng to heat a house. Like now, super conscious ako na, hoy, magpatay kayo ng ilaw or pag walang tao, patayin niyo yung aircon because of those years. Isang araw dumating ang dad, may mga forms for all of us. Para sa insurance niya, importante ang mahal magkasakit dito. Kinabukasan, pagkadating niya, sabi niya, okay, change of plans. Yung mga pina-fill up ko sa inyo na dinala ko, kalimutan na ninyo, pinagpupunit ko na lang. Dahil ang mahal pala ng insurance, lahat mag-ingat na lang, bawal magkasakit. I would say Pinky was the breadwinner when we lived there. She never gave money to mom or to dad, but every payday from work, I would say she took care of the food.
At sa mag-asawa, hindi si Ninoy kundi si Cory raw ang taga-ayos ng mga sira sa kanilang bahay.
Ang dad was not one to be fixing things in the house. May isang fall na nabaha yung basement non-stop. Kaka-operahan pa lang ng dad nun. Kaya, syempre, hindi ko kaya yan. Sa kami ng mga mom, sige, balde, akyat, tapon, hanggang nahanap nga ko ano pala yung valve na bubuksan para nga mawala lahat ng tubig.
Tila walang kakaiba sa pamumuhay ng isang ordinaryong pamilya. Malaking bagay na raw ito, lalo na sa bunso, na 9 na taong gulang pa lang noon.
Dad, siguro kasi nga had to make up for lost time. So, ang mom namin ng disciplinarian. So parang, hindi ko ma-recall ever na napagalitan ako ng dad ko. I was only 1 year and 7 months when martial law was declared. So parang, first memories ko of what family life was like was visiting my dad in Fort Bonifacio. So parang how yung nangyari, yung lumalaki ko, akala ko yun yung normal.
So that was the big adjustment for you, I guess,
To have a dad.
Sa Amerika.
Basically, to have a dad. Because that was the ano talaga. And we really had to adjust to each other because I really was just so used to having my mom's 100% attention. So syempre may konting jealousy at first. My sisters all said, Dad never was able to watch any of our school plays. Ako about Christmas pageant, even if I had just one line, my dad would be there.
Sa Boston, ang asawa ng magiging pangulo at ama ng isa pang pangulo, naging isang karaniwang padre de pamilya.
Many witnesses were paraded before me. I never saw them in my life. And yet they were pointing fingers at me, accusing me of crimes I never committed. They admitted to crimes. They said they were communists. They said they were number 3 in the communist hierarchy. And yet the government set them free, and I was in jail. But I knew that somehow I will regain my freedom. Maybe not in this world, but elsewhere. And I knew that sometime, somewhere, Mr. Marcos and I will meet. And in that meeting, I will have my satisfaction.
Ang dating senador, kalaban ng diktador, 3 taong nasanay maging family man. Driver ng pamilya at tagapaligo pa ng aso.
So tumawag siya, Ma'am, may pasalubong ako. May dala akong 2 aso. Lahat kami aso. Dagdag pa sa trabaho. Mag-aalaga ka pa ng aso, magpapaligo ka pa ng aso. Pero, pinanindigan niya. Since siya yung may gusto kasi sinabi, Dad, wag na.
Karamihan sa mga kapitbahay nila noon wala na rito ngayon.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Howie Severino from the Philippines.
Hi.
Yes.
Ngunit nandito pa rin ang mag-asawang Balet na sa tabi lang ng mga Aquino nakatira.
You're next door neighbors to a family that produced 2 Philippine presidents.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
an actress.
Of course.
So I would be raking leaves, and Ninoy would be raking leaves, and we'd hold each other's leaf bags and talk. So we would talk outside.
I mean, they were a very discreet person. So, and we respected our privacy.
This is the Christmas card I got from Corey.
Do you want
Where
this?
she said, I'm sorry I didn't see you when I visited Boston. We'd seen her only at Mass, she said hello. My oldest daughter, Elena, who taught at Mount Alvernia, got married to her boyfriend of 7 years. It was a beautiful wedding in spite of a few sad moments when I was thinking of Ninoy and wishing he could have been with us.
I know.
Bukod sa mga Balet, nakilala ko rin ang iba pang naging malapit kay Ninoy. At ito ang paborito nilang libangan noon.
Magmamadyong sila hanggang umaga na minsan eh. Tapos breakfast na, tapos uwi na siya.
Yun ang libangan ni Ninoy.
Libangan niya. Naku, pag yung tumawag na yan, kahit na anong oras, ibig sabihin nun, meron siyang balita tungkol kay Marcos or something. Kasi mamaya sabi niya, naku, malubha na. Ay, naku, malakas na naman. Nagdi-depress siya. Kawawa naman si Ninoy. Pag ganyan-ganyan ang mga balita, di ba? No?
So ito yung mesa kung saan kayo naglalaro nila Ninoy.
Pinagawa nga namin sa Pilipinas. Just me.
Bakit wala pang ganito sa Amerika?
Wala.
Come on in. Come on in.
That's Bob.
Hi, Bob. Mga magkakaibigang doktor na matagal na sa Amerika, sila ang pinakabarkada ni Ninoy sa Boston.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, thank you. And I understand that many of you were quite close to him when he was living in Boston.
We were very, very close.
Nagtipon sila para alalahanin ang dati nilang kaibigan.
He is a non-stop talker. I tell you what, his memory of everything that's happening in his life, from the time he was the mayor, the senator, we know all his life now.
And we are listeners, so you can imagine that, play, but he can talk.
He is a good storyteller.
But it is so fascinating.
It's fascinating.
Siguro alam niyo rin yung kanyang reputation, no? Bago martial law bilang isang batang senador. You know, he had a private army, nagbababae daw siya. You didn't see signs of that?
No, not at
completely different. You know?
And believe it or not, I don't think that he's faking it. You know what I'm saying? That just because they are here, they are showing his good face. I don't think so. I think he is really for real. Siguro talagang nahirapan siya sa kulong or something na-realize niya talaga na tama na yung politics na yan. Enough. Because they enjoy their life here. They really enjoy their Boston life.
So buong pamilyang Aquino, may isa lang daw na hindi komportable sa Amerika. Si Noynoy ba nakakausap niyo or did he give an impression?
He was the quietest
He was very quiet.
Every time we will see him either here or in their house, or he will just kiss, hi tita, mawawala na.
I think it's very difficult for Noynoy because you have a father who's very popular, okay? And here you are, you know, it's very difficult.
In fact, Ninoy was telling everyone, this is my bunso. She will be the one to follow me. She will be a lawyer. She will graduate from Harvard. And she will, you know, like me. Well, it's just in my own words. Siguro yun ang pangarap ni Ninoy kay Chris.
Hindi siya happy talaga doon. Like me, na I could have lived there forever.
What kind of bonding did they have? Did they do anything together? Were there things that they had in common?
Shovel the snow.
House chores.
Oo, nagsha-shovel sila. Kasi grabe mag-snow doon.
But common interest, like did they see sports together or?
No, hindi mahilig sa sports si Noy.
Theater? Or,
no, hindi masyado talaga. And then parang, I think also, Noy learned how to be on his own talaga. I'm not saying naman that they were distant, pero my dad was really parang, maybe like most dads nga talaga, na may soft spot sa mga babae. Doon sa girls talaga.
Si Noy, parang dumating siya na parang hindi pa rin niya alam kung ano ba talaga. I think maybe it's also in the age, soon after college, and then you live in exile. I think it was the most difficult for him.
Gayunpaman, maraming rason ng ama para manatili sa Boston.
I wired Harvard University and I said, I am now ready to accept the fellowship that you offered me. And Harvard University extended the invitation again to become a fellow at the Center for International Affairs. And that's the story.
Naging fellow kasi siya rito sa Harvard University, ilang minuto lang mula sa bahay nila. Why did you put his portrait here?
Mr. Aquino, of course, stands out in a very distinguished group. You know, the legacy that he left behind and the life that he led. This man was extremely humble and wanted to learn and absorb, and he turned out to be such a wonderful citizen of the Center for International Affairs.
Plenary session of China Conference in the Philippines, August 1987.
Oh, that was much later.
Yeah.
I visited the Philippines several times. That was.
This might be him? Is this?
That's him.
Is that him?
That's him right there.
Kaibigan niya sa Harvard si Professor Ezra Vogel, isang tanyag na eksperto sa Asia.
He was certainly up there with all the ideas. He had thought about all the big intellectual issues. So I personally consider him an intellectual and very, very articulate, very thoughtful.
Nakita ko rin siya sa isang seminar. Participant siya sa Harvard. Siguro mga 1982 na yon, kung saan medyo na-shock yung mga Amerikano sa kanya dahil ang alala ko yung isang sinabi niya doon ay si Jaime Cardinal Sin sa panahon na yon ay kailangan maging katulad ni Ayatollah Khomeini bilang isang religious leader na magkaroon ng political role at labanan ang dictatorship katulad ng ginawa ni Khomeini sa Iran. Marahil lahat ng hinahangan ni Ninoy sa Pilipinas naranasan niya sa Boston. Bukod sa pagsasama nila ng pamilya, malaya siya rito magsalita, magsulat, at makipagbarkada.
Boston was the only time na ito yung happiness. Happiness meaning normal na nagsisimba kayo together, you get to celebrate birthdays together.
Nabigyan kami ng 3 taon na I guess, the pinaka-normal of our lives as a family.
The greatest gift that God could have given me was as iconic as my parents were. My fondest memories, magulang sila. Yun yung talagang tumatak.
Lahat ng ito, tinalikuran niya upang umuwi.
His intention was not to run for any office, but to help the opposition organize. But more than anything else, to ask the president to make sure that we will have free elections.
He received a telegram from one official from our government, which said that we are convinced beyond reasonable doubts, of the existence of assassination plots against you.
Oh, so dito rin yung despedida para kay Ninoy.
Oo, yun. Andito sila lahat. Mamaya-maya, nandun kami lahat sa taas. Mamaya narinig na lang namin sila. Makanta na sila ng Bayan Ko.
I haven't really heard ang Bayan Ko kasi nga I lived here all the time, no? Pero parang their tears came rolling down. Ako nakakalungkot. I also cried kasi parang bang gusto nilang makabalik pero at the same time opposition silang lahat.
I think it was always a question of when and how. There was never any question about whether to return.
From the start, may intention siya talagang umuwi.
Oo. Alam naman niyang hindi siya talaga magtatagal eh. Tingin ko, kaya tumagal na rin kami ng 3 years doon para pagbigyan na rin kami.
Aquino was aware of the danger. He donned a bulletproof vest and just an hour before his death spoke of assassination.
Assassination is part of public service. My feeling is we all have to die sometime. If it's my fate to die by an assassin's bullet, so be it.
We'll play mahjong. We'll just wait for the announcement that he arrived. And this was 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock there, about 10-15 minutes, we got a call. And it was Biel who called, "Where's Tito Mai?" So I answered the phone. They were playing mahjong. "Tito Mai, I have a sad news." We put everything, we start crying, they start crying.
Nung sigurado nang namatay siya, sinabi ng mom, "There's nothing much we can do now. Let's just all kneel down and pray the rosary." Tapos sinabi nga niya na, isipin na lang niyo kung if he could choose how he would go, gusto niya mamatay ng ganito para sa bayan. Talagang nakatulong ng malaki sa akin yan.
Tatlumpung taon man ang nakaraan, hinanap namin ang bakas ni Ninoy sa Amerika. Wala man lang plake ang bahay nila rito. Ngunit may Aquino Scholarship naman sa Boston College, sa tapat lang ng kanilang bahay.
On her resume.
Dito ko nakilala si Matthew Alonso Zana, isang PhilAm student na pinili ng Boston College na maging Aquino Scholar.
Who's Ninoy Aquino? Why does he deserve a scholarship?
He loved his country. That's the first thing. But, I think, again, a quote pops into my head, this time from Jose Rizal, saying that, a stone left in the field that's not added to a greater wall in order to edify itself, is a stone which is left, without a purpose. He probably felt like that stone, and it's hard to, regardless of the fact that, you have all these things, it's if you're not living with your purpose, then there was no sense really to live in that way, because at the end of the day, what got him onto that plane that took him, that he knew was his eventual death, was the goal of contributing his life to something that was greater than himself.
Noong pinatay si Ninoy Aquino noong 1983, umapaw ang galit ng Pilipino. Ang kanyang halimbawa ang nagbigay ng inspirasyon sa ibang Pilipino rito sa Amerika na umuwi rin at makiisa sa bayan. Isa ako roon. Mula Boston, Massachusetts, ako po si Howie Severino at ito ang Eyewitness.
Maraming salamat sa pagtutok sa Eyewitness, mga kapuso. Ano masasabi niyo sa dokumentaryong ito? I-comment na yan at mag-subscribe sa GMA Public Affairs YouTube channel.